And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I'm the host of today's show, Michael Buckheischer. I'm joined, as always, by Billy Hatton. Billy, how are you doing today, man?
Doing all right, man. Friday, almost probably the best day of the week, I would say. Probably Friday, maybe Saturday. Contend with it, but nonetheless, Friday got the big bowl games coming up tomorrow. This is exciting times.
Yeah, Friday might be the second most favorite day of the week, but I really like Thursdays, man. Like Thursdays are kind of like I made it through the work week. Friday's coming, the weekend's coming, but nonetheless, tomorrow is Saturday, one of the greatest times of year, and college football playoff games are in full swing at this point in time. The first game, I believe, of the day is you have Clemson taking on Notre Dame. Who do you have winning, Billy, and why?
I got Clemson winning this game. I think Clemson is the better team. That Notre Dame team with Ian Book, that's a really good team. But this Clemson team is stacked. This Clemson team is experienced. That defensive line, although they did lose one of their guys, Dexter Lawrence, off that defensive line, he had something in his samples. The B sample came back yesterday, and now he is officially suspended from the bowl game. But they still have Farrell. They still have Wilkins. You know, Trevor Lawrence, that guy can sling it. If you haven't watched ACC football or this Clemson team this year, you're going to get a treat. You know, they score so fast. And when Trevor Lawrence is not having a good day, they have Travis Etienne running out the backfield. This guy is amazing. So for me, I think that's going to overpower that Notre Dame team. Now, Notre Dame is still a good football team, but I just think Clemson, the speed and all that, this is going to be an upgrade from when they played Florida State this year. That's for sure. So I got Clemson.
Yeah, and I gotta kind of echo your pick there, because I really don't think the Fighting Irish should be in the playoff, honestly, especially a number 2 seed that they are, or are they 2 or 3 seed? I think they're
3.
Yeah. So like I don't think they even deserve to be there, and just watching this Clemson team, I believe I watched them against Boston College and Duke, and they are a really solid team. And for their quarterback to be only playing half of the season, he looked like a complete quarterback too. I believe it's Trevor is his first name, I do believe, and Lawrence. Came in. Lawrence. Yeah, like he came in. What was it like? Versus Wake Forest, I think it was, and
I think it's something like Week 4 or something like that.
And he's been playing lights out. I mean, he has 2,600 yards on the season. Yeah, he has 24 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions as a freshman. So we for sure have 3 more years, or like I guess 2 more years like of this happening, and I don't see any drop off from Clemson. I think they win soundly, and they win big. I'm talking big by like 14 points. I mean, nothing too crazy like 30 or 40 points, but you know, they add a quick score at the end there, and they pull it out, you know, to a 14. So it's going to be like a 35-21 type of game there.
Mike, I actually think Clemson is going to win by 21 or more points. I honestly do not see this game being close. Both of these teams played my Seminoles.
Right.
For me, Mike, Clemson put up 79 points on Florida State at Doak Campbell Stadium. That's the largest home loss that we've ever had at Doak Campbell Stadium. When we played Notre Dame, they looked pretty average, you know, and we played them on the road. They did not look that impressive to me. Now, they didn't have Ian Book. I would give them that. Brandon Wimbush was the quarterback, but I don't think Wimbush could have played any better than what Wimbush played in that game. If I'm not mistaken, Wimbush had three touchdowns, 1 on the ground, and no interceptions that game. So, you know, I don't know really how much better Ian Book could have played. I'm not a believer in this team. Now, I do think that they should be in the playoffs. You know, I do agree with that, and I think the only reason why they're at number 3, Mike, instead of at number 4, is because everybody wanted to see Tua versus Kyler.
Yeah.
So the 1-4 makes a better matchup. Alabama Oklahoma is more exciting than Alabama Notre Dame.
And it's also because they've been ranked 2 and 3 all season. How can you justify moving them down to 4?
Well, if you remember, LSU had a one loss and was still ranked ahead of Notre Dame. That was ahead of the Alabama game before LSU played Alabama. They had one loss. They were ranked number 3. Notre Dame was undefeated, and they had them at number 4.
Yeah, but that's
what I thought was going to happen. But that 1-4 Alabama Oklahoma makes way better sense, and then Clemson Notre Dame sounds a little bit better.
So, I mean, like, just to add to that, like, I think the playoff people as a whole, they want to see Alabama Clemson in the final, and I think a lot of people think that Oklahoma can beat that Clemson team. So by moving them down to the 4 seed and leaving Irish at the 3 seed, that kind of plays into their thoughts of having a Alabama Clemson game.
It's a good point.
So with all that being said, Billy, we both have Clemson winning that game. So moving on to the nightcap, we have the Orange Bowl here. We have the 12-1 Oklahoma Sooners taking on the number 1, 13-0 Alabama Crimson Tide. Roll Tide, as those fans in the South like to say. Who do you got winning this one?
You know what, Mike? I'm going to be honest with you. You said something in the group chat this morning, and I seen it come up on my phone, and I didn't even look at it because I said I've been feeling that way, and I'm going to tell the people what you said. And I'm gonna paraphrase. It was something like, I've been sitting here thinking about how bad Oklahoma is going to beat Alabama on Saturday. Is that correct?
In a roundabout, yeah, yes.
A lot of people are writing Oklahoma off. A lot of people are just going ahead and giving Alabama the trophy again. You know, this Oklahoma team is a really good football team. Now, their defense may be bad, but if we know one thing that has hurt Nick Saban over the years, and that's a quarterback that can run and a quarterback that can throw. Anytime Nick Saban has faced a dual threat quarterback, his team has either struggled to pull out a win or lost. More often than not, it's a loss. Dak Prescott beat him. Johnny Manziel beat him.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other kid from LSU? I can't get his name right now. They took him to the end, and if it wasn't for a T.J. Yeldon Hail Mary type play, Alabama had lost that game. You know, they tend to struggle because the SEC, they build their defense to be strong and powerful to stop the run, because that's all their conference do is run. When they get outside of that, when they play people, you know, Ohio State that year that they won, and they had Cardale Jones, they struggle with those types of quarterbacks. Kyler Murray is the type of guy that can put up 50 on you if you're not careful, especially that on that secondary who's just used to people running. This is going to be an upgrade from Georgia in my estimation as far as the pass game. But I think Alabama will win. I think they'll pull it out because they do have the better defense, and that defense will come up with a stop when needed to. But I don't think this game is as cut and dry as a lot of people are probably saying it is.
And I think you've taken most of my points here, but one of the biggest points that you missed, Tua had ankle surgery 3 weeks ago. You cannot tell me that he will be 100% at that game from having ankle surgery. I'm not for sure what they did. I'm not for sure how you fix a high ankle sprain with having surgery. I'm not for sure what to do. But either way, 3 weeks post surgery, no matter how minor it is, no matter how like how much therapy you have, it's still going to be tender. Your body was cut open, it was fixed by a doctor that deserves that $3 copay.
I knew you was going to throw it in there.
And I mean, just like I just don't see him being 100%, and like I think that will hurt Alabama in the end because they don't have faith in their starting quarterback. They know that he is not 100%. So like they know they have to almost play a perfect game against this high flying Oklahoma offense to even have a chance. And I think when you play not to lose and you play like you have to be perfect, that is when you slip up. That is when you let the Heisman Trophy winner Kyler run wild on you, throw wild on you, and Alabama does not want to be in a shootout with a, let's say, 80% Tua. Like, I just don't think they will be able to hang with the offense of Oklahoma if Oklahoma's offense gets rolling like we all have seen it do against Texas, against Oklahoma State, against West Virginia, Kansas State, etc. So with all that being said, I got to go with Alabama still, just because they are Alabama. They were outscoring opponents by like 50 points the first half of the season. Second half they kind of slowed down. But look who they played. They're playing a number 3 LSU team, a number 16 Mississippi State team, a number 4 ranked Georgia team. So their competition definitely raised. But I'm picking Alabama, but I don't see them winning by the 14-point spread that they have here. It's going to be a 6 or 7 point game at the end of the day. I do believe.
Well, this is what I will say about that. Your Tua point, that's very valid. But this is why I'm not as worried about that. And I say that because this team that they're playing in Oklahoma is a struggling football team, giving up 156 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I say that to say this. Damian Harris and Josh Jacobs, those guys will get going. Those guys will be probably over 150 yards combined today. But this is their worst nightmare. If Tua gets hurt and they have to put Jalen Hurts in, because you know what you're going to get with Jalen. And all that's going to do is enhance that run game. Enhance that. I think Jalen Hurts is the tougher cover for Oklahoma because they're not as physical as Alabama. And I think Tua is the finesse part. I think they can live with that because Tua likes to go for the gusto. He likes to take those chances because he knows how good he is. He knows how good his arm talent is. And you can pick Tua off every now and then. Mm-hmm. You can get him to make a mistake. Well, I don't think Jalen is making many mistakes because Jalen is throwing dinks and dunks, screen passes here, slants here, out routes, and we're going to run this ball down your throat with this read option.
You're right.
And just from what I've seen from Jalen Hurts this year, he has improved as a passer from where he was last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's deadly.
Yeah, and just to compile onto that point there, even if Tua isn't healthy and like Hurts is playing, mediocre ball, how you beat Oklahoma is you keep their offense off the field. So
exactly.
So you give your tailback the ball, let him pound it for 3 or 4 yards. If he slips one long, awesome. But at the end of the day, the longer the Alabama offense has the ball, say if it's a 40 to 20 time difference, Alabama's going to win that 9 times out of 10, and that's why I'm picking Alabama to win because Saban is a smart enough coach to know that to beat Oklahoma you got to run the ball, and I think that is what they'll do at the end of the day here.
And last point before you move on,
mm-hmm.
You've seen this what happened in the SEC championship game when Tua was in there. Alabama offense kind of looked mediocre because you can get two of the
Right.
lollipops, some of them up there thinking that he can make those throws. You can get interceptions. What happened immediately as Jalen Hurts come in there? It's a change of pace. It's a different. Plus, two, you're not even preparing for Jalen Hurts.
You're right.
You're preparing for
Right.
Tua.
Yep.
So when Jalen Hurts come in there and he's not slinging the ball all over the field and he's pounding you, what can you do? Tua is reluctant to run because he knows what arm talent he has. When Jalen Hurts don't see anything that he likes, he's gone. And if you're playing man-to-man coverage with your back turned to him, say goodbye.
Yeah, we saw that on that. I believe it was the last drive versus Georgia when like Hurts just scampered into the end zone like untouched because they were playing man coverage and their backs were turned. So
exactly.
So before we move on to the other games that are happening this afternoon, actually, if Tua is not 100%, do you think Saban is quick to pull him out if the Oklahoma defense is starting to hit him and stuff?
No, I don't think so. Tua's a tough guy. He's taken some punishment over the course of the year. Yeah. He's been banged up all year long. And I think right now this month that he's had to get right, I think it's better than anything that he's done during the regular season where you're playing every week. You're playing and then you're just trying to get treatment in between just to play again. I think this long rest, even with the surgery, I think this long rest, because I think only with that ankle sprain, Mike, they only just going there and probably just patching up the tendon to make it stronger or something.
Right.
Because it's a sprain. There's not really much, but a sprain is a lower grade of a tear. So that's what I'm saying. They could probably just go in there and patch it up a little bit. And I think this rest, though, is fine. I've seen some highlights of him. He seems to be moving fine. I think Nick Saban stays with him unless he just can't go at all.
Yeah, and I did hear Tua say on a press conference, I believe it was yesterday afternoon, that he said he expects it to be 100% by game time. Obviously, he's
like 80, 85 right now.
Yeah, like obviously he knows his body better than any doctor or us or anything like that. And I wish him,
even with his $3 copay.
Yeah, and I wish him nothing but the best. But I just hope for a good game at the end of the game.
That's all I want.
So, speaking of good games, Billy, there are 3 bowl games that are happening this afternoon. We aren't going to really go too much in detail on these games. We're just going to kind of pick the whoever wins the game, and if you have some insights at it, awesome. So we'll start with this 1:00 game here. You have the Music City Bowl. You have 6-6 Purdue taking on a 7-5 Auburn team. Who do you have winning this one?
I got Purdue. Purdue has played pretty well. I think Auburn has struggled a little bit. I don't know if Malzahn lost his fastball a little bit, but Purdue is a good team that's looking to make a statement. I got Purdue.
Yeah, and I have to echo what you said there. When Purdue beat Ohio State, you saw a glimpse of like what their years to come. That Rondale Moore kid from Louisville, Kentucky here, he is something special, and I don't think Auburn wants to be at the Music City Bowl, and Purdue is happy to be there with that 6-6 record here.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah. Moving on to the Camping World Bowl here, you have number 16 West Virginia, 8-3 on the season, taking on a number 22 or a number 20 Syracuse team that's 9-3 on the season. Who do you have winning this game?
This Syracuse team is really tough, man. If you had, I watched a few games of Syracuse this year. I watched from that game that they played Clemson. And this is a tough club. I got Syracuse with the upset. I know a lot of people are going to be picking West Virginia and Will Grier, but I think Syracuse is gonna pull it out.
And I am one of those people that have to go with West Virginia, because when Syracuse is clicking, they are a solid team. They are a top 10 team. But when they're not, you saw what happened against when they played Notre Dame the week of Thanksgiving, and they only scored 3 points and they got shellacked. So that's why I think West Virginia is going to come out. Yes, the West Virginia offense is, or the defense is like horrible, but I think the West Virginia offense is better than the Syracuse defense at the end of the day, and Syracuse doesn't know really how to react when a team's scoring 40, 50 points on them. So moving on to the next one here, the final bowl game of the game. My screen went away. Imagine that. We have number 20,
Iowa State and Washington State.
Yeah, you have number 24 Iowa State 8-4 on the season. Number 13 Washington State 10-2 on the season. Who do you got?
I got Washington State. I think with Minshew playing in this game, I think that's going to be a significant upgrade. This Iowa State team is not a bad team, but this Washington State team just about 3 weeks ago had aspirations of probably trying to get into the college football playoffs until they lost to Washington. So I think they're mad to be in the Valero Alamo Bowl and not even playing in the Pac. They need to get a chance to play in the Pac-12. I think they win this game. I think they win big. And
that's why I'm picking Iowa State. Is because they had a chance to play on a New Year's Day bowl, possibly make it into the college football playoff, and then they lost to their arch rival to basically all but knock them out of competition. And the Iowa State team, they are a very stingy team. They played a lot from behind, like all year, and just the Pac-12 historically is not very good in the bowl games. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the travel, if it's just because they aren't hyped to play these low caliber bowl games. But that's why I have Iowa State winning this one, and I think they're going to win it pretty handily too. So,
bold statement there, Buck Nasty.
Hey, I got to ride with my Big 12 boys. You know, this is all we got.
That's me, man. I've been picking ACC like crazy, man.
Right. like it is really hard to not root for your conference, but at the end of the day, like you have to use your gut to like pick, and
exactly
that's what's really has been hurting me is my Big 12 because I think the Big 12 is a very solid conference, but that it's just the matchups that they're having. It's kind of rough to pick them. So
yeah, the ACC is struggling right now too, with Miami getting shellacked yesterday, 35-3 by Wisconsin.
What was that
Lord
all
have
about?
mercy.
What was that all about?
I have no clue. But I was rooting for Miami too, man. I don't know what was going on.
Well, that's why they lost, because you were rooting for them.
Probably. Probably.
All right, so. Since we missed overreaction to underreaction Tuesday because it was
hold on, Mike.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Mike. You want to talk Michigan, Florida? They also play tomorrow. They got the early game at it's 10 o'clock over here my time, but that'll probably be noon East Coast time.
Yeah. Let's the
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Michigan is a 6-point underdog. Who you got?
You know, I like Florida in this game because of all of the reasons that we've been saying in all of these other games. I don't think Michigan wants to be there. They had aspirations of being in the college playoffs. Many people think they should have been in the playoffs, including myself. I think they're a very solid team. If it was any other circumstance, I would pick Michigan by a lot. But since it's the Peach Bowl, they really don't want to be there. I don't think. That's why I'm picking Florida in the upset.
You know what, Mike? I've been going back and forth with this, and I think had I not been reading and I would have just been throwing stuff off the top of my head, I think I probably would have picked Michigan. I'm starting to lean a little bit towards Florida, because there are about 3 high-profile guys from Michigan that's not going to be playing in this game, that's skipping the game to to get ready for the NFL draft.
Right.
And that's Higdon, their starting running back, who's almost at 1,200 yards on the season, 10 touchdowns. Rashawn Gary, their phenomenal defensive tackle. I've been watching that guy since high school. Came out as the number 1 player in high school. And 3 years later, still kind of lived up to the hype. And he's not playing in the game. And I think it's one more guy. I believe one of the DBs or something like that. But there's 3 guys that's not playing this game. the problem with that is, Mike, I do not trust Felipe Franks. He's had a decent season thus far, 2,200 yards, only 6 interceptions on the year. But his decision making scares me. Now that defense that they have, Polite and those boys, they're big time.
Yeah, they are.
So,
they're very, very, very solid. I believe they're ranked number 1 in the FCS, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yes. So for all those reasons, I know it pains me to say as a Seminole fan because I hate the University of Florida. Like, I hate everything about it. But I'm going to have to go with my head on this one, and I think Florida's going to pull out the upset as well.
Yeah, well, Florida's ranked number 7, aren't they?
10.
Oh, okay. So Michigan's
Michigan is number 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would in theory be an upset, and this is what makes picking these quote unquote low tier games so hard to pick. Because this is supposed to be a New Year's Six. This is one of the supposed to be one of the better ones. Yeah, and like I'm not trying to take away from the Peach Bowl like at all, because yes, it is a New Year's Six.
I know you hate bowl games, Mike.
No, I hate all these 6-6 teams making it to a bowl game. Like, I hate watching.
That's true, man. That's true. I will agree with that point.
Like a
Hawaii
State
and Louisiana Tech,
and
Buffalo and Troy.
Right.
Yeah, I get you.
Who wants to watch those games? But this is what makes picking these games so hard at the end of the game. It's because you don't know who is peeing hot, who is sitting out, who is sick, who is who flunked algebra, so like you don't know who is going to play until the game, and then at that point, like, I had to make my bowl picks, back on December 14th when we still have 3 weeks before the actual bowl season starts.
Yeah,
so
that messes you up big time.
But since this is just our second show coming back from Christmas break, we missed my favorite segment, over under reaction. We didn't have a lot of time to prep because our host Matthew Lau is at the indoor swimming pool here learning how to swim. So we are going to kind of go back to the professional ranks of the football to the NFL, and we're going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. Over under reaction. Nick Foles deserves to be the Eagles starting quarterback, even if Carson Wentz is healthy. Over under reaction. Billy Hatton.
I think it's an underreaction. I said this from the beginning. I think Nick Foles, he did what he was supposed to do in order to lead them to a Super Bowl. He was a big part of the Super Bowl. It's not like he was just one of the guys just along for the ride.
Right.
No, he was one of the main attractions. So for me, and I'm not that high on Carson Wentz. I said this from day one as well, that I think Carson Wentz is in a really good situation with Doug Peterson, kind of the same way that a Mitchell Trubisky is with a Matt Nagy, the same way that a lot of people say Jared Goff is in that Sean McVay system. I think they got with good offensive-minded people. You could say the same thing for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. We know what Andy Reid has been able to do as far as offensively throughout his years of coaching. So for me, I think Carson Wentz is just in a good situation with Doug Peterson. But as you can see right now, Nick Foles can come right back in there again and do the same exact thing that he did last year. So how can we say that Carson Wentz is that good when Nick Foles can continue to sit on the bench all year and just come off the bench like it's nothing and perform? You have to give credit to Doug Peterson, and I think Nick Foles deserves to be the starting quarterback.
And I think it is an overreaction because of what you said there. Nick Foles has been on the bench all year. I think he played the first 2 games of the year, but he's been on the he's been on the bench for 13 weeks. So therefore, it is just like when a rookie quarterback comes into the league and blows it out of the water. It's because there's no film on him. I think if Nick Foles were to start for the Philadelphia Eagles next year, let's say in theory he starts and Carson Wentz is his backup, he'll do fine the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year, and then you will start to see the true Nick Foles. Is he a solid quarterback? Is he just below average? Is he a number 2? So for those reasons, I think it is an overreaction. We have a little bit more sample size of Carson Wentz, but I don't think he is an elite quarterback as a lot of people think he is either. So it is an overreaction at the end of the day, in my opinion. Moving on.
I don't know, Mike. I just want to say this before we move on. I just look at guys like Mr. Trubisky, who's been playing good all year with a great offensive mind. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, his arm is big time, and I get it. But let's say he goes play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think he'll be able to put up those same numbers that he's doing in the Kansas City? I highly doubt it. I just think what Nick Foles does, Doug Peterson simplifies it for him enough, and he can get it done. Especially next year when he can get his running game back. You know, they added Golden Tate to go along with Alshon Jeffrey,
right.
And then next year he'll be able to get Jay Ajayi back. Oh man, I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've seen it with Matt Castle for the Patriots or that Flynn guy for the Packers. They are great when they're a backup and they come in for those 2-3 weeks that they're asked to play. But as soon as they are the man on the team, they fold. So I don't know if Nick Foles will be like that, or if he'll be the Nick Foles that won the Super Bowl last year. We don't know. Hopefully we get a chance to see that, because I think Carson Wentz is not as advertised at the end of the day, to be honest. So
now we agree on that point.
Moving on, underreaction. The Ravens will be the scariest team in the AFC if they make the playoffs.
I'm going to say overreaction. I just don't think, it's working right now. In the playoffs, it's going to be a different story. They're going to be on the road every single week. Not every week. They get one home game if they make it in. But after that, they're going to be on the road to either the Chargers, the Chiefs, or the Patriots. I just don't see that, especially if they go play the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick is so smart. He knows how to take away what you do best. He will make Lamar Jackson stand in the pocket and make plays with his arm. I think in the playoffs as well, another tough defense like the Chargers. They will have a guy like Derwin James spying him, who's just as fast, who's just as good as an athlete. Teams will learn how to adjust to that in the playoffs. So I think it's an overreaction.
And I'm going to go on both sides of the fence. It is a overreaction if they lose the first game, obviously, but if they were to win that first game, confidence is killer. When a team has confidence, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, but that confidence gives you something that it just can't be explained. Now, do I see them going to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game? No, but they will put a good up. They will put some good fights up, and they will make teams really, be scared of them at the end of the day. If they can win that first game, so
they can be tough though, Mike, because that defense they have it's not a game. They play that's classic Ravens defense right there. And that's another reason why they're winning these games, because Lamar Jackson, you think he's only putting up 150 yards maybe through the air. He's doing most of his work on the ground, almost 100 yards every single game, at least 13 carries every single game.
Right.
And then, they have Alex Collins and Buck Allen. These guys can control the clock. They have two great and I wouldn't say great tight ends, but good tight ends, to go along with that, a veteran receiver in Crabtree. And that defense, man, So they could be scary for sure. They can be scary for sure. But I just, I think they're limited with Lamar Jackson. I think ultimately that's going to be their downfall.
Yeah, their quarterback play will be key, and their quarterback play as of right now is pretty weak. Let's be honest. So moving on to the final overreaction, underreaction of the game. Eli Manning struggling this year, obviously, but underreaction. He will return as a Giants starting quarterback in 2019. Billy.
I think that's a underreaction because I think that he will return as the quarterback. But I think they also go get Dwayne Haskins. I just don't think that they're pushing Dwayne Haskins out there right away. OBJ is still young. He got 5 years. Mm-hmm. Saquon Barkley obviously was a rookie this year. They have the kid from Oklahoma. I'm blowing his name right now. Sterling Shepard. He's only in his second year this year. He'll be going to his third year. There's no rush. They're still young. Landon Collins is still relatively a young guy right now as far as safety go. So I think they go get a quarterback. It may not be Dwayne Haskins, but I'm just saying Dwayne Haskins. And they let him sit behind Eli, and then they put him in. So I think Eli will be the starter next year.
And I'm going to have to go on the opposite side. I think that is an overreaction. I think because the Giants are so young and they have those athletes, they don't want to waste another season under Eli. And Eli still has a little bit of trade value, I think. So if you shop him in the offseason right before the draft, maybe be able to move up in the draft a little bit if you need to go get a quarterback like Haskins or whoever else might be out. Like the quarterback from Duke and Missouri are both really good. Their names are slipping my mind, but
Jones and I can't think of the other one from Missouri. Jones is the one from Duke.
I want to say Porter, but I know that's not right. But they're both solid quarterbacks. I did see them play this year, so it's definitely an overreaction. Just like we talked yesterday, he still has some trade value, just like Lamar Jackson has some trade value right now. So get him out the door. Maybe bring in a free agent like Teddy Bridgewater, or maybe even a Ryan Tannehill might fit that offense well. Like honestly, since I hear the Dolphins are going to shop him as well, or they're looking to shop him in the off season here. So get him out of there. Give your athletes a chance to be athletes. While they're still relatively young. And if they find a solid quarterback, they could be solid for the next 4, 5, 6 years. So,
yeah, I picked him this year to win the NFC East. So
yeah,
that tells you what I think about him. Yeah. And they have the tight end Evan Ingram,
right?
Who's only in his second year out of what is it, Ole Miss, I believe it is.
I'm not for sure, but yeah,
he comes from somewhere out of the SEC. I believe it is Ole Miss.
But yeah, so. At the end, that is going to be the show for today. Billy, you got any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I have a rant here.
Let's have it.
And it's something that, listen, I get so aggravated. I watch, sports talk debates as just like you do, Mike, just like a lot of people in this world. And the one thing I hate is every day I turn on my television, and I'm a LeBron James fan, diehard LeBron fan. Every day I turn on my television, every debate show has at least 4 topics where they're talking about LeBron. They're going to talk every game that he does, every single game, every night. They're going to critique his play every night, something we didn't do with Jordan, some that we didn't do with Magic and Bird and Kobe and Shaq and all of these other guys. We're going to critique his play every night. Then we're going to talk about, we're going to give him a grade, and then we're going to bring in a guest where we're going to retalk the same points over and over again, and we're going to talk every single thing he does. LeBron James walked down a flight of stairs today. Is that a good thing or bad thing for the Lakers? Like, I get so tired of hearing about LeBron, every single thing that he does. Man, like, can it stop? I get it. He's LeBron James. You know, he has 45.5 million Instagram followers. I get it. But it's almost overload. And then the stuff that people say is just so ridiculous. Oh, now that he's hurt. You know, I was watching Undisputed yesterday, and they had Michael Rappaport on there, who is one of the biggest LeBron haters. And he says, maybe now that LeBron is hurt, you know, now it's going to give the young Lakers room to step up and do whatever instead of having to defer to LeBron. And I'm like, so I guess nobody ever had to defer to Jordan, right? You know, nobody ever deferred to Kobe and Shaq and Bird and all these other guys. The only people that play with LeBron have to defer to him, right? As if no other great player gets that in the NBA. James Harden, you know, they did the numbers on him yesterday. He's taken over 800 dribbles, you know, this season. Over 800. That's insane. But when it's LeBron, we talk about it. Oh my gosh, should he said these lyrics? As you know, I don't. Oh man, should he talked about the NFL owners and in his new show? You know, oh, he's coming to LA to be an actor. Just please. Oh my God, I get so tired of it, Mike.
Me and you both, but that's what happens when you are the greatest of all time. People like to talk about you because it's must-see TV, and people click on it to listen to it at the end of the day. But
and I'm gonna say this, Mike.
Go ahead.
Listen to Unpopular Opinion today. We're going to be talking about LeBron James. Speaking of LeBron,
there you guys go. Go join Billy Hatton on Unpopular Opinion. But guys, this is RTF Sports Talk Live. We'll be back Sunday morning. We'll be live on YouTube and probably Facebook too. The Week 17 NFL season is coming up on us, and there's a couple playoff spots, and it's going to come down to game 252. So be sure to join us on Sunday, guys, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.
If you came to prove, there's no reason to prove.
RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.